Greetings, my dears, in love and light. I'm Nikki Sutton, and today I wanted to talk about ways to reconstruct your life during a spiritual awakening. Now, when you have a spiritual awakening, a lot breaks down for you. You discover new ideas, new truths, new beliefs, which you need time to integrate and to understand. And what happens is the sense of self breaks down, so the ego gets quite a jolt. It actually gets smashed to pieces in many cases, so you have no idea who you are anymore and what your place in reality is anymore, even what reality is even more. So it all takes time. It needs time to settle down. So these are 8 ways to reconstruct your life during a spiritual awakening in an attempt to help you feel a bit better. Now, number 1 is to give yourself time to allow your beliefs to settle into your subconscious mind and to be able to integrate them. You may still be searching and seeking for information, and this is a very common phase during a spiritual awakening, and actually it kind of keeps going, but it's very intense at the beginning. It's enjoyable searching and seeking for information as you go through your life, but in the beginning it's more of a compulsion because your consciousness is searching for answers to help you rebuild your concept of reality, because you may have believed you were a meat sack walking around in a hard, tangible reality, and suddenly you realise it's all energy, it's all atoms, it's all information based, and that the atoms are in you too, so you're made of energy too. Realisations like that, and you know that it is true, and it's actually proven by science. So what does that mean? What does that mean for me? What does that mean for reality? What does that mean for everyone else who's walking around believing certain things? So you need to give this time to settle down and know that the realisations will become less and less, actually. So it may feel very intense at the moment. There's a lot of information that seems to be dropping in your lap, actually, in a very synchronous way, but they will become less and less, and it will start to settle down, because as you know more and more, there's less and less of the key realisations to find out. So it will get better. So number 2, on ways to reconstruct your life during a spiritual awakening, is to take a break. So the first one was to allow yourself time for things to settle down and integrate, and number 2 is take a break. Now, some people have very gentle or very positive spiritual awakenings. Others have quite negative, intense spiritual awakening. And this can arise when you've discovered a lot of negatively oriented information and you start soaking up a lot of conspiracy theories and things. It can get too much and you need to take a break, even if it's positive information you're soaking up, and having realisations that your life up until now was kind of a soup of untrue beliefs, and your priorities now are going to be drastically changing. Again, you need to take a break and get out in nature. You need to do something of a light-hearted nature. Your consciousness wants to search and seek this new information, but say, no thank you, I'm taking a break for 2 or 3 days, just to let my mind reset itself. Meditation is key to help your mind reset itself. As I say, nature is the default reality. We concrete over everything and put houses and buildings and glass and steel everywhere. That's not the true reality. Nature is the default reality. So get out into nature and feel those energies. That will help you reset. Soak up a little bit of sun, even if there's not much at the moment, and give yourself a break. No more information intake. Let it settle down, okay? And number 3, on ways to reconstruct your life during a spiritual awakening, is a lot of acceptance. Now, firstly, to accept you can't awaken others. So one thing we do is we suddenly feel like we've got all this new information about how reality really is, and we want to share it with others. And then they start looking at you as if, what are you talking about? There's a lot of cognitive dissonance goes on. They might look at you as if you're a bit mad, or they're worried about you. So you need to have some acceptance that you can't just wake them up. It's not their time. It takes quite a bit to wake someone up, actually. It needs to be the right piece of information at the right time that resonates with them and starts to shatter that belief system, that ego, the illusions we've been given and all the beliefs. It needs to be the right thing. And the thing that catalysed your awakening might not be the thing that catalyses their awakening. It might be, but it will just cause them to worry about you, and you don't need that at the moment. So in a minute I'll explain how to help that situation. Instead of trying to awaken others, in a minute I'll tell you possible other things that you can do. Also, more acceptance. Accept that it can be a lonely time. Spiritual awakening can be quite a lonely time because your beliefs are out of alignment with others all of a sudden, and you're on this journey of awakening, and others often don't understand what you're going through. Now in a minute again I'll give you some advice on how to help that. The reason why I say about all this acceptance is because acceptance is the opposite of resistance. I don't mean let everyone walk over you and let terrible things happen to you. No, it's coming from a place of yes rather than coming from a place of no, of resistance. You're coming from a place of yes. So I accept, and I know that spiritual awakening can be a lonely time. I accept that. Now what can I do to feel less lonely? Or now what can I do to help make this easier for myself or to get through this time? Also, accept that you might find it hard to relate to other people and not to resist and to fight it. That generally people like workmates and friends and acquaintances and just people you generally might chat to, accept that you might find it a bit hard to relate to them at the moment because your priorities have changed. And again, acceptance drops the resistance, allows you to come from a place of yes, I understand and accept the situation, instead of no, I'm trying to fight it. So give others time to see you're all right as well. So my family and friends I know who also have experiences with their families, at first their families were worried about them and a bit scared of what was happening to them, but over time they start to see you're okay actually, and it starts to soften. And then when this settles down, when they start to see you're okay and that you're starting to feel better, you'll learn how to relate. Now, I do present to unawakened people. That doesn't mean anyone's better than anyone else, but it's just a term I'm using. I present to unawakened people a slightly filtered version of myself because I choose to do that, and you can choose to do whatever you want. I choose to do that so I can still relate to anybody, so I don't just blurt out for spiritual facts or conspiracies or ideas about the nature of reality or anything like that. I don't just blurt that out to people. I just assess what each person is good to talk about, you know. So you'll learn how to relate in your own way. So number 4 on how to reconstruct your life during a spiritual awakening, and this is the way to help you, is to communicate how you're feeling in order to get support and be less lonely. So what I mean by that is, instead of telling people all about all the things you've learned in your spiritual awakening to try and awaken them to, which they may not understand and they may be a bit fearful, instead just tell them that you're going through something which is making you feel like you're breaking down a bit because your ego is breaking down. There's no need for medical assistance, you're okay, but you just need some support. You need to be with someone, you need to be able to call someone if you're feeling a bit funny, and just let them know how you're feeling and just say you're going through something and try and get support that way. It's hard because they may not understand, but they might be able to understand the feelings, like a feeling of shock or sadness or feeling a bit paranoid or something like that. And you say, I might need to just be with you. So this is to friends or family. I might need to just be with you, come round and watch something together or just have a cup of tea. And just being with someone might help. So instead of telling them all about your realizations, just tell them how you're feeling at the moment, and they might be able to relate to that. So number 5 on ways to rebuild your life during a spiritual awakening is to rebuild the concept of self. So as I said, the concept of self can break down during a spiritual awakening because you realise all these things about what you really are, an infinite consciousness, and that's a big deal, isn't it? So rebuilding the concept of self. Again, you're going to look for more information. And you can really choose who you are. Very soon I'll put out a video on why it's good to be authentic and how to be authentic, and that will help you with choosing on who you want to be. And also doing inner work helps you cleanse those hurts and traumas from the past, and that allows you to be able to be yourself more and let that new you take the wheel instead of personality fragments coming up and bugging you all the time. So know that there's a new you emerging and that you can choose who the new you will be. Do I choose to do meditation? Yes. Do I choose to be a kind or more unkind person? Okay, I choose quite kind. Do I choose, let's choose the level of materialistic desires I'll have. Do I care a lot about shoes and how my home looks anymore? Not so much, actually. So you can think about all these different aspects of you and all these different concepts and make a decision how you want to be, and then you can aim for those. Okay, and priorities as well. You can choose your priorities. Will I put family first now instead of career so much? You can choose your friends. Are some of the friends I have, are they not so much, do I not relate to them so much anymore? You don't want to just ditch people, but you can choose, you can look for new friends as well. There's plenty of spiritual communities online where you can find new friends as well. Choose your pastimes and get rid of stuff. That's another thing that can help reconstruct your sense of self during a spiritual awakening. It's when you chuck out stuff. Now, a lot of people get rid of loads of stuff, clothes and possessions and junk. It's like a cleansing, a purging. And as the new you is emerging, don't be surprised if you do this and chuck out a lot of things that you used to have because that was belonging to the old you and not the new you. Okay, number 6 on ways to reconstruct your life during a spiritual awakening is, well, you may have quit your job. So deciding what to do now. Now, it's very common for people to just go ahead and quit their job during a spiritual awakening. And I know it must be about 50%, more than 50% of people who've had a spiritual awakening, they go and quit their job. And the reason for that is they feel like maybe they're making money for their boss, and actually that's kind of futile, or they disagree with the ethos of the company. They feel like what the company is doing is actually kind of damaging to the planet and not very helpful to people. It's not a good purpose they're working towards. So the motivation is gone because you don't believe in what you're doing anymore, and then you can't bother to go, and then you jack it in, and then it's like, well, now how do I exist in the system if I don't have a job? Because we're still in this system at the moment, aren't we? So you think, what do I do now? What I always say is intuition and follow your heart. There's plenty of things you can do. Imagine if we all set up an ethical business, one that didn't destroy the planet, one that didn't exploit people, one that didn't cut down trees, one that didn't pollute the atmosphere and all the rest of it. I'm not commenting on the validity of global warming here, but I'm saying pollution is a real thing. Okay. So imagine if we all did that. You don't have to become a Reiki master. You don't have to become a chakra cleansing expert or a past life regressionist or anything like that. You can, but you can also set up ethical businesses, source ethical products, manufacture ethical products, perform other kinds of services to help people, help people's mental health, help people's physical health, stop people feeling lonely, join charities to help fight for the environment, or help people who are in desperate need, or something to do with animal protection or veganism or something. There's such a myriad of things you can do. Some clients I have say that they've become teachers because they want to be a good teacher and help people learn. You know, there's so many things you can do that verge on the side of love and understanding, and instead of the side of self-serving and profiting. So number 6 is, I quit my job, what do I do now? you can go onto the service to others path, and there's so many different roles that you can choose from to do with that, and you don't always necessarily have to retrain either. So number 7 on ways to reconstruct your life during a spiritual awakening is to do your spiritual practice. So as I said, get out in nature, make sure you're eating healthily and doing your exercise and doing your meditation as well, and continue your personal development. So not just watching lots of videos and gaining information about, I don't know, space drama that's happening or conspiracies that are happening and information about politics and economics. Also do your personal development. There's plenty of individuals on YouTube that help you with personal development, ways to look at reality and ways to heal the self. So keep doing that and you'll feel much better. And number 8 on ways to reconstruct your life during a spiritual awakening is to listen to your emotions and don't resist them. Okay. The emotions are telling you what needs healing. When you have negative emotions coming up day to day, it's telling you what the problem is. All too often we feel these negative emotions and undercurrent of them day to day, and sometimes they pop up and really bring us down. Now we have a tendency to want to suppress them, not ask them what's the problem. Ask those emotions, what's the problem? What is it? Why am I having this emotion? It's your subconscious mind crying for help, basically. So you need to be present with those emotions, ask your subconscious where they're coming from and trace them back. Okay, so please search for my videos on inner work to help you to do that. So listen to your emotions and don't resist them. Negative emotions are resistance anyway. Every negative emotion is a resistance to something negative that we're perceiving. So again, there's signposts of things that need healing. So I hope you enjoyed that video today on how to reconstruct your life during a spiritual awakening. Leave me and others a comment to let us know what you've been doing to feel better during a spiritual awakening and reconstruct your life. And don't forget to click subscribe and that bell button to receive notifications, because we're raising the mass vibration together. So go now in love and peace.